Hi, this is Andrew Dagan from Let's Talk Nevada, and we're here today with Reno City Council member David Bobsian. Thanks for joining us.
Andrew, good to see you again. We've also got Luca. He's fresh off of his soccer game.
Oh, wow.
Playing soccer.
How was the game?
Yeah. Did you get rained on? A little bit.
Played in the rain. Wow.
A little bit of rain. Not too much though. Yeah, not too bad.
We're going to talk a little more about that later, but first, I know you served a few terms in the Nevada legislature, and then after the last election, decided to move over to Reno City Council. What compelled you to join the City Council and move into local government?
Well, it was a responsibility I felt, particularly after the Tesla special session, which was the last legislative act I was involved in.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up the morning after that thinking, oh my gosh, what have we just unleashed upon our community? So, with all of the opportunity and prosperity and the resurgent economy following the Great Recession, I think we also find ourselves as a community with some really profound challenges when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to affordable housing, when it comes to education. And when Mayor Sheevy won her race and opened up the at-large seat, I was encouraged to apply. I was one of 71 applicants and was pleased to be unanimously appointed by the rest of the council. So it was an opportunity to open up a new chapter for myself with public service to my neighbors and work on these challenges at the local level for our community.
So how do you say so far state of Nevada, Washoe County, and Reno are handling Tesla, and it looks like the beginnings of some new growth coming into the region?
Well, I think the jury is still out. This is a very critical year. Certainly, you'll probably have a lot of conversations in Northern Nevada about the state of the schools. That was an issue that I worked on for many sessions, and we kept at it, trying to find new funding mechanisms to deal with capital renewal, our aging schools, classrooms. There's a ballot initiative this year to deal with school funding.
And how do you feel about how the school bond initiative is, the school tax initiative is developing?
Well, I think it's early in the campaign, of course.
Yeah.
This guy's school, Mount Rose, is actually one of the most crowded schools, and so I spend a lot of time talking to the parents. I think this community does understand that we have to do something. The time is now. All of the promise for economic resurgence that we have in our community, all that's out the window if we can't build schools.
And do you think folks here in Reno would be comfortable with raising the sales tax?
Well, that's what's going to be posed to the voters. We'll have to see. I spent many sessions in the legislature trying to find the perfect magic funding mechanism for schools. There is no such thing. We just have to find some mechanism to build classrooms for these guys, for these kids. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Now, when it comes to growth and development here in Reno, what do you think the rest of the City Council have been able to accomplish so far in better managing that growth?
Well, I think the big opportunity for us is that we're undergoing the revision of our master plan, and so we have just recently completed our Reimagine Reno focus groups, surveys, etc. We got 6,000 responses from members of the community expressing their vision, their preferences for how they want to see the community grow into the future. We heard things such as more emphasis on walkable communities, higher density offerings, more local food. There's a lot of focus on sustainability, and of course I've been working on climate issues as well. So I think the development that we're seeing, we're seeing a mix. We're in a race to try to provide housing for the expanding workforce. We're seeing a lot of infill development projects that are starting to happen. It's a new day up here.
Now, where we are today here in the Old Southwest, this seems like a pretty nice walkable community, but kind of like Southern Nevada, once you head farther out into the suburban regions, it gets harder to walk around or use public transportation to get where you need to. What do you think can be done to better connect the area and make more neighborhoods walkable?
Well, there's definitely, out of that survey that I just talked about,
Yeah.
a lot of support for more walkable communities, not just in the urban core, but further out. I lived inside the McCarran ring for about 19 years,
Yeah.
and recently just moved out up into the Northwest into one of those more suburban settings.
Yeah.
But even up there, you know, it's a mile walk on paths and trails to restaurants and shopping and the rest. And so even folks in the suburban areas, I think, are realizing that they want to have more opportunities for kind of neighborhood districts and the like. In the new master plan, I think you're going to see a lot more emphasis on those sorts of preferences, making sure that development, actually even infill development in those newer areas can happen to provide those options.
Now, I know another development issue that's been getting more attention lately is the University of Nevada and its plan to expand the University of Nevada Reno campus. How do you think that's going along, and what do you think the city and University of Nevada should do once you're ready to expand the campus south of the 80?
Well, it's a hot issue right now. We are going to see a new student housing development break ground here sometime soon, just south of the interstate, closer to downtown. That's going to do a lot to bring the student population closer to downtown. The hot issue are a number of houses that are right there on Center Street. There are some of the oldest homes in Reno. The City Council recently kind of hit the pause button on consideration of the master plan update to allow more time for a conversation to begin with the Historical Resources Commission and the university. That conversation has started. There's a lot of back and forth. The university, I think, is now becoming a little more creative in how they're viewing that block and their expansion. And so we'll come back, I'm pretty sure, here in a few weeks at the city, adopt the master plan update. But then in the coming years, there's going to have to be a balance struck, and hopefully the university can do that under the direction of the Board of Regents with their properties, making sure that they're expanding, that we are integrating with our downtown, while at the same time recognizing the importance of our historic resources.
Now, I've noticed recently both the city of Reno and the city of Henderson have stated support for the Clean Power Plan. What's happening here in Reno when it comes to actually implementing that and pursuing the goals of developing more renewable energy?
Well, I think the undertold aspect of the Tesla story is just how much it is a new focus for us in Reno, that we are the place where businesses are coming, business models are being built for climate solutions, and that's really what Tesla is about. A lot of the other companies that are here are in the sustainable space, and so for the city of Reno, support for the Clean Power Plan is a no-brainer. Certainly there's been support across the state recognizing that we do not have a lot of hydrocarbons in this state. We do renewable resources, whether it's geothermal, whether it's solar, and so the Clean Power Plan, in the legislature, there's a long bipartisan history of preparing Nevada to thrive under the Clean Power Plan. So yes, we've expressed support for the Clean Power Plan. We recently signed on an amicus brief in support of the Clean Power Plan. Before that, we initiated a climate initiative. We were the first city in Nevada to join the C40 Compact of Mayors. So we're just getting going on our sustainability work and our climate work. But for us, it's a business opportunity.
Now, would you consider legislation passed last year that was then implemented by the Public Utilities Commission on net metering as a setback in encouraging more development of renewable energy, particularly small-scale renewable energy that depends on favorable net metering policy?
Yeah, one of the last energy issues that I worked on in the legislature in the 2013 session was AB 428, and of course that directed the study of net metering. And the study that came back under the PUC's oversight basically said that these cost issues were a wash. Now there are those that took issue with that, and that's what ended up in the bill last session that led us to where we are now. I think it's pretty clear to see that the legislature and the governor are going to have to revisit this issue and hit the reset button on the conversation. I mean, yes, it was time to look at net metering rates, but it seems like they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate how to do this. I mean, what it comes down to is the grid, the direction of the grid policy, that belongs to everybody in the state of Nevada. And so we got to find a way to work with the investor-owned utility, MV Energy, to work with entrepreneurs, and really as a state, figure out what we want our grid to look like in the future.
Now, I've been noticing another big environmental issue here in the region. It finally looks like we're hitting about the historical average in Sierra snowpack, but still not enough to make up for particularly the past 5 years of drought. What do you think you can do and the city of Reno can do to encourage better management of limited water resources?
Yeah, no, it's safe to say, even though we had a fantastic snow year, that snow year is actually average in the scheme of things, and it does not end the drought. We are still in a drought, and it certainly is a drought. It's a condition that scientists are saying has been exacerbated by climate change. This is the new normal. We are, as a community, going to have to face that and readjust what it is we do as a community to exist in that condition. The city has been very aggressive in drought planning, recognizing that. We've thread that together with our sustainability work. We also work with our partner jurisdictions, the county and the city of Sparks, at the Tumwa board, the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, to recognize that we have challenges when it comes to our water. Now, we're in a better space because of the TROA agreement, which really kind of settles a lot of long-standing legal challenges that we had. But back to our master plan update, as this community is growing, we want to make sure that our development is water smart, and that we are making the most of our
and perhaps
resources.
Encourage less of that ornamental lawn grass.
That's a big part of it. I keep pushing the Tumwa board to look at lawn buybacks and everything else, and certainly it's a complicated issue. But trying to find more incentives and ways for people to do landscaping that is consistent with our high desert environment.
Do you think perhaps Northern Nevada can learn from the experience of Southern Nevada and what Southern Nevada Water Authority has done for the past 25 years in putting some hard water conservation standards into place to try to limit all that ornamental lawn grass and other examples of water waste?
Yeah, I think so. And in fact, in a lot of ways, the housing development industry here in Northern Nevada is already leading the way when it comes to this. I mean, it's very hard to get a new house that is nothing but surrounded by turf. That just is not an option anymore. It is interesting because there are some very real differences between the Southern Nevada experience and the Northern Nevada experience. I mean, the Colorado River situation is, if anything, it's very different, and perhaps it's a little more dire in some ways. But no, I think there are opportunities for looking to Southern Nevada for how we should be doing things up here in the north.
And finally, should he be elected to a full term to the council? What do you hope to accomplish going forward?
Well, I've been successful in this first part of my service on the council in finding some targeted solutions for our challenges, and that's really what I want to focus on is the tangible results. For instance, We finally have a City of Reno license plate after many, many years of people wondering why there was a Vegas plate but no Reno plate. There's now a Reno plate, and the Reno plate goes to support Parks and Recreation, which has always been a challenge when it comes to our budget. It was the hardest hit during the recession, and as this guy will tell you, flat fields are hard to come by. They're very crowded for soccer players, for baseball players, and the rest. So it's the quality of life amenities, wanting to focus on those, finding ways to expand those, to make sure that we're competitive, to make sure that we've got a good product that we'll want to have. We'll want to keep families here. We'll want to bring new businesses here, keep the businesses that are here staying here. So quality of life, I think the other part of it that I really want to focus on and have been focusing on is in all the exuberance about this resurgence economically, my experience in the legislature during the Great Recession, making those tough decisions about budget and planning, applying that to the council so that we don't get carried away in the moment and are not ready for that next downturn.
Right.